So I've kind of been putting off saying something about this subject, but I think with where things are at now, it's important for me to at least say something. And the reason I've hesitated is because I don't think any dude on YouTube sitting here talking about the coronavirus and medical stuff and the future of the markets is, at least me, I'm not really qualified to say those things. So I do want to make it clear that this is just my opinion, and this is just based on things that I am seeing in my business and in the businesses of people that reach out to me a lot. And this is really just in the context of businesses in Amazon FBA. This is not, official financial advice or medical advice. And whenever you make a video about something like this, there's always going to be people that say, you didn't say this, or what about this? So I just want to say I'm not an absolute expert in these things, and I'm filming this video on March 2nd. That is the context in which this video is made. So let's basically just talk through some of the problems and concerns that I'm seeing the most. What are the delays looking like? Should I be sourcing in other countries? What if I'm just starting now? What should I do? So those are the types of things that I want to get into. And let's just get the YouTube stuff out of the way. Smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, leave comments, YouTube algorithm, you know the deal. So first off, what are the problems now? Pretty much what I'm seeing in my own businesses and the businesses of my students and people that are asking me questions on Instagram and in the YouTube comments. Basically, yeah, there are delays. That is a fact. And so when the outbreak was at its peak in China, I was definitely seeing suppliers continuously saying, oh, we'll be back next week, and then kind of kicks the ball down the road and gets longer and longer and longer. And I'm still seeing that to some extent. But what I've heard on the news and what's consistent with what I'm seeing talking to suppliers in China, it does seem like we're pretty beyond the peak outbreak in China at this point, and I am seeing suppliers start to come back and start to be much more responsive now already. Now, does that mean the delays are over? No, I don't think so. I don't think they're back to full production now or even next week, and there will be a backlog as well of time to catch up and get things going to a fully operational level. But I was seeing super concerned people thinking that this is the end of China as a global supply leader and crazy accusations like that, and I really don't think that's the case. I think, yes, this is a major hit, and we might see some crazy manufacturing companies tank in the stock market over the coming weeks, and things might be going out of stock. I know I personally stocked up on some stuff just in case. But even with all of that, that doesn't mean that China is going to stop being a viable place to source in the future. And I think that they will 100% bounce back from that. But that doesn't mean that China is never going to be a viable place to source products from again forever. I think they'll for sure bounce back from this. The part that's up in the air is how long is that going to take? And that would just be a guess. That would just be anyone's estimation, really. And this will also vary based on the region in China, but from what I'm seeing, suppliers are starting to get back in the door to some extent. I don't think it's peak operation, but for example, I have one supplier that I actually need to send something to rather than receive from, but for a product development type of thing. And they were saying to hold off, and now they're saying, go ahead, we're good to receive it. So to kind of summarize on that point, yes, there are delays. Yes, I think some delays will continue, but it seems like it's not going to be that much longer to at least get stuff rolling along. Maybe not at the peak of where it was or where it will be, but it seems like things are already moving very much in the right direction on sourcing. So another question coming up a ton right now is, should I source from a different country? Should I source from India, the US, Thailand, Vietnam, wherever you're finding potential manufacturers? And in a way, my answer to this is the same as it would always be, which is those are amazing if you can do it. And I'm a huge fan of sourcing from anywhere but China when you have that ability. And I think this gets confused a lot. So this is a good chance for me to clarify, because obviously I do talk a lot about sourcing from China. And then some people take that as me saying that sourcing from the US would not be a good option. And that's not at all what I mean. I've sourced from the US and several other countries whenever possible, actually. But China, just the truth of it, is in a lot of situations, that's where things are manufactured to the highest levels, mass production, at prices that are actually doable. And it's not like we're talking about a product that costs $5 to be made in China versus $6 to be made in the US. If that is the calculation that you're dealing with, you should go for the US every single time, because the logistics are going to be so much easier, the lead times are going to be so much better. But the truth is that there might be a product that you're sourcing in China for $5, and maybe it just doesn't exist at all manufactured in the US, or it's $50, not $5. So it's not always this simple calculation like people seem to think. So the answer is never that you should only source from China. The answer is that in a lot of cases, you kind of that's kind of your only option for a product in those cases. And so if you're able to find manufacturers for your product in the US, India, anywhere else, or if that's just the country that specializes in the type of product that you are sourcing, I'm 100% all in on it all the time, coronavirus or not. So if you're sourcing from the beginning right now and you can find a product that you were looking into that's sourced elsewhere, absolutely, I'm all in. Better tariff situations. There's really no reason to only look at China. China is a great place to source in terms of quality, mass manufacturing. I mean, it's obviously the leader in that generally, but some products just have other countries and areas where people are specialized in making those products. So it really just depends product to product. So if it's not a product you've sourced before and you can source it elsewhere, absolutely all in. Now, if it's a product you've already been sourcing in China, that could be more difficult to switch because you might find that that product is just specialized in China and they have the capabilities to do it there. And you might not be able to find manufacturers that have those capabilities that you need for that product elsewhere. So overall on that one, honestly, in a way, my answer is the same as it would always be. Sourcing outside of China is absolutely great if you can manage to do it. It's just honestly not always a reality for a lot of products. And also on this point, in terms of comparing pricing of manufacturing in China to other places, if there are massive global supply chain issues for a specific category of products, you might see your competitors going out of stock, you going out of stock, pricing changing a lot in the markets. So that might mean that you would be able to absorb a higher cost by sourcing in the US or elsewhere and then work it into your price. Because look, if you're gonna go out of stock anyways, you might as well raise your price and slow things down a little bit, get a little extra cash coming in as you figure out what's next. And also if your competitors start going out of stock, then the same thing. There's gonna be more potential customers looking at your product. So again, probably raise prices. So not only think about your own supply chain, but think about how this is going to affect the market for your buyers too. And I think it's still relatively early to be seeing a massive disruption in the buyer's market right now. It's more on the supply chain things and looking a few weeks or months down the road. But this is definitely something to think about, and it might be an opportunity to even make a little bit more money in the short term. And another question I want to cover, this one might be the one I'm getting asked the most right now. And funny enough, it's kind of the same question that's always asked, but just spun in a new way based on the current events. And this is just, if I haven't started yet, is now the right time to start? Should I delay? Is this causing so many problems? And should I just wait on the sidelines for now? And my honest, genuine answer to this is, I don't see any reason to not still get the ball rolling in your business and getting things started, at least in the planning phases and the research phase. Most people that ask this question don't even know what product they were going to be selling anyways, honestly. And that's just a harsh truth. But if you're asking that question, I would really love to know if you were actually at the point of ordering your inventory, or if you're just kind of thinking about this. Because if you're just thinking about this, you should start the planning anyways, because most likely by the time you're ready to pull the trigger on your product, things are going to be dramatically different anyways, and you'll be that much more ahead of the curve and ready to actually start your business when the time is right, even if there are some slight delays. If some slight delays are the difference between you doing this and not, then you're probably thinking about this extremely short term anyways. And yeah, you might want to consider other places of manufacturing, things like that. I'm all for it, but I don't think this is a reason to just give up and not think about it at all, even if a slight delay. And look, also a lot of other people are going to be afraid of this. So anytime there's more hurdles and more people afraid and more people looking elsewhere, things almost quiet down a little bit. So this might be a great time to get in. Not medical advice, just some dude on the internet's opinion. I'm not particularly worried from the health angle, but I do see this as a massive global disruption event. The markets, supply chains, that has really started to get weird a month ago. I wasn't really concerned about this at all. I still don't think it's that scary in terms of the health implications, though I think a lot of people could get it, but it is scary in terms of supply chain and things like that. So personally, I was screwing around and holding some put options. Shout out to Wall Street Bets. Didn't go so well. I don't understand how, but we'll see what happens with that. And yeah, I bought some extra water and non-perishable food and stuff like that. Not because I think it's going to be some zombie apocalypse, but because I think that the supply chains could be disrupted for sure. But again, at the same time, how long is this going to last? Not forever. And both on the consumer side and the online business owner side, I do think this will blow over. It's just a matter of time. And anybody telling you it's going to be tomorrow or next month or 3 years from now, in my opinion, would just be guessing. So This is just my opinion. This is just the way I see it, but hopefully it was some good insight for you at least to see how it's affecting my business personally and how it's affecting a lot of the people that I talk to, because I do get so many people approaching me about this. So if you're watching this far, please do stay healthy, smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, hit that bell so you get notified when I post. Drop comments below. I will read and respond to all of them. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm as well. Feel free to also follow me on Instagram at Loberstein to see what I'm up to, and see you in another video really soon.